Yo, 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 welcome back. Welcome back, episode 4. Just trying to be rude over here. Let's get into it. This episode, we're going to talk about that big trilogy. Huh? That big heavyweight trilogy fight. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury 3. I'm excited about this one. I'm a big boxing fan. Started with this guy when I wasn't even big enough to go to school. We'll talk about my boxing stuff on another episode, but it started with this guy. But I say that to get to this. Heavyweight boxing has been painfully boring to watch for a long time. Heavyweight boxing has been boxing as a whole, but specifically heavyweight boxing has been painfully hard to watch for a meaningful period of time. I'd say since Lennox Lewis went away. Now we're talking about the early 2000s. I'd say since Lennox Lewis stepped away, props Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis and George St. Pierre are about the only two combat athletes right off the top of my head that I can think of that went away on top. Think about it. You got somebody different? Throw it in the comments. But since Lennox Lewis went away, heavyweight boxing's been painfully hard to watch. I keep an eye on it, try to keep my finger on the pulse and everything. It's just, you know. But a few years ago, I started hearing about this guy Deontay Wilder. Now they're saying things like, "This is the next Mike Tyson, man. This guy's a killer. This dude, man, you need to check him out. Check him out." All right, I tuned in. I checked him out. Deontay Wilder. He's a hard hitter. If you don't know Deontay Wilder, go check it out, especially before Saturday night. Go check him out. Go watch some of his fights up too. He was 41-0 with 40 knockouts. If I'm wrong, he was 42-0 with 41 knockouts. Either way, it's a lot of knockouts. That's a good record. That's a lot of knockouts. Now, then I find out, he's knocking people over in a violent fashion. He's not I'm not hating. Just being real. Just being rude. He's not a great boxer. He's not a good boxer. But he's got that one hitter quitter, that genetic stopping power. You know what I'm saying? That you can't teach. Punches are born. You know what I'm saying? You can learn technique. You can train somebody up to be a champion. Champions are made. Champions are molded. But you punches are born. Deontay Wilder's got that genetic stopping power, that pie out, that one hitter quitter. He'll shut the lights off. Go check him out. Then I learned he's from. I'm over here in Georgia. He's from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So he's a neighbor. So I'm checking this dude out. He's the first heavyweight that's come along in a while with some excitement. And he's a neighbor right over here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So I'm checking, Deontay Wilder out. I'm following him. Then I see he's about to fight with this dude Tyson Fury. I didn't know much about Tyson Fury. I knew Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko for about 10 years, roughly. Them big boring Klitschko brothers was running the heavyweight division in boxing. Ain't taking nothing away from them, but they were hard to watch. But I know Tyson Fury beat Klitschko. It went away. I'm about to touch on that a little bit. But he's coming back with Deontay Wilder. Okay, whatever. So in the build up of this first fight, I'm learning a little bit more about these guys. In the build up for this first fight, I'm learning a little bit more about these two guys, and I'm learning about Tyson Fury, and the parallels with myself and Tyson Fury was almost kind of eerie. Almost a little bit eerie, so I was a little more drawn to Tyson Fury. I was learning that see, maybe I'll put my testimony on here one day, but I ain't gonna get into all that. But I just I quit the boxing, I quit the wrestling. All my anyways, all the training, all just set it down and walked away and cut everybody off and shut down for a couple years. Had some depressions and some trying to take myself out, and I get out of hospital, and this is right when I get out of hospital. I'm not just rambling. So right when I get out of the hospital, I decided I'm gonna get myself back in some more shape, get back into wrestling, get back into boxing. Just start living again. And I'm learning about these two dudes in this build up. And Tyson Fury, after he beat Klitschko, he's undefeated now. Tyson Fury's undefeated. Beat Klitschko, took the world championship off of Vladimir Klitschko. Gave it back. Just shut down, went away for 3 years. I mean, bunch of drugging, bunch of drinking, put on a bunch of weight, suicidal, stuff. And one day, he just, he's giving praise to God, and I love that, But one day he says he's praying and on his knees crying, and I know a little bit about that. And he says, just the next day he decided, you know what, I'm gonna get myself back in shape. I'm gonna go get back, what I was wanting out of this life and everything. So I'm learning these things, and it's really, the parallels is crazy, because the way that the timeline plays out is exactly the time he was doing this, is when I was going through my stuff and I didn't even know it. So I'm just got out of the hospital. I'm in the comeback, if you will, and I'm hearing about this dude, and it's crazy how similar the stories were. So I'm a little drawn to this dude now, and then he's hilarious. Go watch him. Go watch his press conferences and all that. The Gypsy King. I got to I've got to really start liking this dude Tyson Fury. So now I'm already about Deontay Wilder. So now I'm ready to see this first fight. I'm invested. First fight, decent fight, good fight. Tyson Fury won. Hey, this ain't but hey, my least favorite thing about politics is, boxing is the politics. All the politics involved. It's not straight up. There's a bunch of red tape and who you got to talk. It's just if you know about it, you know about it. If you don't, it ain't gonna take long to find out about it. Just that's why I respect Dana White so much. He's running UFC right. You know what I'm saying? Like and I can't wait he's talking about zoo for boxing. If he starts his zoo for boxing, because the way he runs UFC is gonna. But the boxing world is just so corrupt with all the promoters and all everybody that's got their hands in the pie, and it's just it's criminal. You know what I'm saying? But so they have the first fight. Tyson Fury did very well. He outboxed Deontay big time. Outboxed Deontay Wilder big time. Deontay Wilder outscoring the fight, and this something, I was a little boy, I'd be like, Dad, what are you over there doing? He'd have a notepad like this. I'm scoring the fight. What? So, when I'm a little boy, I'm just sitting over there wanting to do what Dad's doing. He's teaching me about, the 10 must, and the 10 must system in the rounds, and, so if somebody, betters his man a little bit, you give him a 10-9. Somebody gets, maybe knocked down. You know what I'm saying? Just lopsided, big time first round, a knockdown. You give them a 10-8 round. 10-8 rounds are, they're out there. 10-7. That's, hey, you really need to change something you're doing. But they're out there. You don't see too many 10-7 rounds, but they're out there. But anyways, I'm scoring this fight, and Deontay Wilder maybe won 2 rounds. Maybe won 2 rounds of that first fight. Now we get into the later rounds. He catches Tyson Fury with one of them game changers. You know what I'm saying? Puts him down. Everybody's thinking, we've seen this 41, 42 times before. Well, Tyson Fury got up. Tyson Fury got up. We ain't seen that before. Uh, Fast forward a little bit, we get in round 12. Tyson Fury's, still better than Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder caught him with another one of them man stoppers. Tyson Fury's on the way to the ground. Deontay Wilder catches him with another. I'm already thinking we're seeing the red lights. We're about to see the little gloves and the stretcher and the doctor mask before COVID. After that right hand, now he catches him on the way down with one of them left hooks that's just, stop a mule. Tyson Fury's laying there, looks like he's dead. I'm thinking, this is not good. Ooh, 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 ooh. This is not good. Get about 7, 8, the count, and Tyson just gets up. Gets right up. Now, not only did he get up once, he gets up after this. And this one, I thought he was dead. He gets up, and it was like unbelievable. My favorite part of the original Rocky movie is when Apollo Creed, he's putting the work on Rocky, and in Rocky's corner, and Mickey's even telling him, stay down, stay down. And Rocky gets up, and Apollo Creed looks back at his corner like, Rocky gets up and does the, come on, been getting beat on, probably too tired to breathe, and he just gives him the, come on, and Apollo Creed just looks back at his corner like, what do I got to do to this dude? It was one of those real life moments. Not only does he get up, he won the rest of the 12th round aggressively. I'm talking about he had Deontay Wilder on his back foot, stalking him, won the rest of the 12th round aggressively. Well, everybody knew Tyson Fury won that fight. They gave it a draw. They called it a draw. Now, I can see how they would get to that way of thinking, but I don't. I can see why they would call it a draw, because everybody got 2 eyeballs seeing Deontay Wilder got outclassed in that first fight. And I could see that, there was the 2 knockdowns in the later rounds at the end of the fight. It was a draw, but I understand, too, that, hey, nobody's owed got to go right now. We call it a draw. We circle back around. Look at all this money we would have left on the table for a round 2, if you will, a second fight. All right, cool. So the build up for the second fight, I'm checking it out. Y'all need to go check it out. More specifically, the build up for the second fight is hilarious. It's hilarious. Tyson Fury getting on it. I'm ready when you are, you big dosser. You big swinger. I'm ready when you are, you big swinger. It's awesome. Tyson Fury is hilarious. But I'm watching the build up for the second fight. I'm very invested in this second fight. We get to the second fight. Tyson Fury comes out and bullied him. Now, the first time he outboxed him, big time, outclassed him. Second time he comes out, and he said he was going to do it. He called for a second round knockout. The first knockdown was in the 3rd round, but Tyson Fury came from the opening bell, had Deontay Wilder on his back foot the whole time, had him off balance, had him looking stupid at times. Tyson Fury bullied him. I'm talking about knockdowns in his face, on him the whole time. Eventually, in the 7th round, Deontay Wilder's corner threw in the towel. Now, Tyson Fury is your heavyweight champion, only heavyweight champion, only 2-time heavyweight champion that's never lost a fight. So, Deontay Wilder was quiet for a little bit. I'm thinking, immediate rematch. Tyson Fury was saying in the build-up to the second fight, he was saying, and they were asking him, what's coming next? What he's saying, I'm going to beat Wilder. I'm going to beat Wilder again. He soon, Wilder's going to want the rematch, so I'm thinking immediate rematch. Okay, here we go. First one was a draw. He just made him look like a little boy this time. Okay, 3rd fight's coming. Tyson, Deontay Wilder wasn't calling for an immediate rematch. He was quiet except for all the excuses. Now, One of the excuses was Tyson. First excuse Deontay Wilder come out with was his his walkout attire, his costume that he wore to the ring, his Halloween costume. It had glowing purple eyes and it looked real scary and it was. You know, if it looked like something they'd have on display at the Home Depot, you can put on your front yard. And if you had it, you'd be, you know, big dude on the block, you know. But Halloween decorations, you know, you'd win the neighborhood Halloween. But so the first thing you come out, you know, this man's 6'7", 200 and north of 200 pounds, talking about this 40-pound weight suit, just weighting down, and that's what cost him the fight. It says his legs were gone because of the cause. Come on now. That's the worst. That's the most embarrassing excuse I've ever heard. Is his walkout ring costume is what cost him the fight. That's just embarrassing. Then he comes out talking about he done fired his whole team for throwing in the towel. Fired his head trainer for throwing in the towel when he should have gave him a pay raise because he saved his life. You know what I mean? Should have gave him a pay raise. He did the right thing, got fired behind it, whatever. Alright. Come out saying his costume weighed him down. That's what cost him the fight. Then he was saying that his trainer, the one that he fired, spiked his water. He was blaming it on the referee somehow. He blamed it on the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Then he was talking about injuries. He said he had a torn bicep coming into the fight. Something about a shoulder coming in the fight. Okay, well, injuries happen, you know, whatever. No professional athlete, no fighter, at least, is going into any fight 100%. Period. That's just how it goes. You beat up. If you're putting in the work you need to be putting in, training, you know, proper to get where you want to be, especially on that level. No fighter's ever walking in there 100%. If they tell you they are, they're lying. You know, these days I wanted to call a taxi or an Uber, you know, get a lift to take me from the bed to the bathroom. You know what I mean? I can't, like, so injuries, whatever, you know, that's just, don't come out complaining, you know, it's like, Jesus said, you know, Jesus said, try to live a life without complaining. But, you know, who'd he ever be? That's what Jesus said. But then he come out talking about Tyson Fury's gloves were manipulated. You know what I'm saying? Something going on in the gloves. Well, I mean, you know, his trainer that's been with him the whole time he's been boxing is right there. You know, I don't know. You know, those of you that don't know, when you're having a boxing match, MMA fight, whatever. If you ain't never been around this, when you're getting your hands taped before the fight, the other team's allowed to have one person in there watching them tape your hands. They're allowed to send whoever they want to from their team to watch your hands get taped. And vice versa, you got a guy in their locker room. They're watching everything going on with the hands taping process. It's signed. We go, you know, do the deal. So he's saying Tyson Fury's gloves were manipulated. So, I mean, dude, if he would have had one excuse, all right. But every excuse, some of them are just downright embarrassing. Bro, come on. Be a man about it. You're still one of the baddest dudes in the world. Y'all are still two of the baddest dudes walking the face of the earth. You just, you know, one of you was better at what y'all was doing on that night. Dust yourself off. Come back at it a different way. Don't cry about it. Don't give complaints. There's nothing worse than a grown man complaining. I'm sorry. I just feel like there ain't nothing worse than a grown man complaining about something. Just being rude. So, he's not calling for an immediate rematch, you know, whatever. So then they're getting ready for Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. That would have been a big fight. Super fight, especially in the UK. Two Britons, two champions. They're going to unify the belts. Maybe the biggest, possibly the biggest heavyweight fight in, you know, boxing history. Definitely the biggest British heavyweight fight in boxing history. But then Deontay Wilder comes out with this arbitration because he had his rematch clause. They went through the courts, whatever, you know. He could have got $80 million from Tyson Fury if Tyson Fury would have just kept with his business with AJ, you know, Anthony Joshua. I heard about 20 million step aside money. Just let everything. But Tyson Fury said, "No, I ain't paying you nothing, you big dog, sir. I won't pay you $20, you big dog, sir." He said, "I pay in ass whippings." So here we go. We're about to get the third fight, and I'm excited about it. Now, I want to talk about this third fight because got respect for Deontay Wilder for one reason. Don't got a lot. I've lost a lot of respect for Deontay Wilder because all these excuses. But the man, I still respect that he's got a little bit of pride about him. He's wanting to come back in, and it's kind of like Rocky 3, when because these guys even knocked over all these 41, 40. I mean, that's still knockouts. That's that's still impressive, but there aren't a whole lot of notable names, notable fighters in there. Tomato cans. And like on Rocky 3 when he was, Mickey saying, he don't want to fight, and Rocky says, "What are you talking about? I've had 10 title defenses." And Mickey tells him, "That was easy. They was handpicked." Rocky said, "Setups?" "No, they weren't setups. They were good fighters, but they weren't killers like this guy. He'll knock you to tomorrow, Rock." Rocky 3, yeah, that's my favorite one. Y'all seen it? You ain't seen it, you better go watch it. That's your homework for tonight. Go watch Rocky 3. But anyways, I ain't going to tell you the rest of the movie, but it might be where Deontay Wilder's at right now. He wants to figure out, was I thinking, by the people that was around me, and the way they was setting up who was in front of me, was I thinking I was better than I really am when I wasn't? Any man's going to think about that. He wants to go see now. Respect for that. So now here's the other way I'm thinking about it. All right, Tyson Fury won the first fight, outboxed him, outclassed him. First fight was Tyson Fury's. They called it a draw, whatever. But Deontay Wilder seen he can't outbox Tyson Fury in the first fight. He knows that, and not only did he see he can't outbox Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder's got that stopper. That genetic stopping power, that game over, that tie-out. You can't teach it. God-given. Got that genetic stopper. Now, not only, he's not a great boxer. He's got the footwork of a penguin. I'm just being honest with you. He's always off balance. He don't really know how to put a, he swats. He looks like he's throwing a frisbee when he throws his punches. But if he lands that right hand, that's all he's got to do. That great eraser, Teddy Atlas calls it. That eraser. It don't matter about the lack of skills and the lack of technique. Because if he lands that, more than makes up for it. Erases all the rest of that. So, but not only did he see he cannot outbox Tyson Fury in the first fight, Tyson Fury got up from that man stopper that nobody else has. Not once, but twice. And then not only did he get up twice, went on to win the rest of the fight. That's got to be in his head. He's got to be living rent-free on the top floor. Tyson Fury, if you know what I'm saying. Second fight, he come in, changed the game, and just bullied the bully. Had him on his back foot the whole time. Had him off balance. Had him looking. Go watch it. Had him looking bad. So then, I'm wondering, because of all these excuses, man, you got to be real with yourself. Deontay Wilder's lying to himself. He ain't even been able to come to grips with that he was just outclassed. You know what I'm saying? He ain't even come to terms with that he was outclassed. So he's lying to himself. Until you're real with yourself, you can't really start a rebuild. You know what I'm saying? You can't really start a rebuild. He's got a new trainer in Malik Scott. I don't know Malik Scott as a trainer. Don't know him as a regular trainer. Don't know any fighters he's trained. Don't know if he's ever trained anybody before. The only thing I know about Malik Scott is he was one of the bowling pins that Deontay Wilder knocked down along the way. I mean, it was something like 30 seconds. Knocked Malik Scott out. He used to be one of Malik Scott. Used to be one of Deontay Wilder's training partners. That's all I know about him. He's one of the guys that Deontay Wilder knocked out. He used to be one of the training partners. Well, I could be wrong, but how much respect are you gonna have for a man that ain't really notable trainer, and you've done beat him? So how much can you let yourself respect it? I'm just being real. There's lots of come on, man. What's the percentage? A high percentage of fighters out there could probably whoop their trainer. But it's a respect thing. And I'm just saying, once you done put a man out in 30 seconds, you know who got the better of who in all the sparring sessions. Like, I'm just saying, are you picking up what I'm putting down? Like, it ain't about if the fighter can whoop the trainer. That's not what I'm saying. It ain't about if the trainer can whoop the fighter. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, how are you going to be able to respect this man that you've done walked through? Like, how is this guy that I've done beat going to make me better? In your head, it can be done. In theory, like, it can be done. You just got to listen. If the man knows what he's talking about, if he's a knowledgeable fighter about the fight game, it can be done. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. But Deontay Wilder's a little arrogant. You know what I'm saying? He's got himself surrounded by a bunch of yes men and glad-handed happy yes men, and that's that's going to set you up in a bad place, because it's good to have your confidence. It's good for people to be drilling in your head and you know, making you believe. But you got to have some people around you to be real. And the one man that was looking out for you that threw in the towel, you should have told him thank you and gave him a pay raise. You fired him. Why? Because you was embarrassed? No, he was looking out for you. Y'all go back to the drawing board. This man's going to figure out, because he's looking out for you. He's caring about you. He was with you before the Olympics. And y'all going to figure out the X's and O's because he cares about you. The way y'all had going wasn't working that night. And he said, okay, let's go try this a different way. You don't fire him because you're embarrassed. That was a bonehead move. But I don't know. Maybe Malik Scott's a good trainer. Who knows? We'll see. Supposedly Malik Scott's putting this new style on him. Well, red flags I got for that is when it gets hot in there. Just tell me, if you don't know, if you ain't, you know, been in it. Like, we're creatures of habit. When the going gets tough, when the heat gets turned up, we're going to go back to what we know. Mike Tyson had a great quote. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. That's true. When it gets hot, any walk of life, check it out. When it gets rough, when you get tired, when you're ready to be done, whatever, you just go to what you know. Going through the motions. So he might be trying to put this new style on Deontay Wilder. Might work. But I don't think you need to reinvent it. Deontay Wilder definitely needs some improvement. His fundamentals are not good. His fundamentals are not really there in a lot of ways. He's got the footwork of a penguin. Big, sloppy, looping, frisbee throwing punches. But when he lands one of them, you know what I'm saying? He's got a power that could stop a moose. When he lands one of them, but what happens in between landing one of them? When you need to. Anyways, we ain't going to get into how to train Deontay Wilder right now. I'm making my point of he just needs fundamentals right now. What Malik Scott needs to be doing with him. Malik Scott wants to put a whole new training on him. That's going to be fine for the first couple of rounds. Fine. He might even come out and use it. And be looking real good. But when it gets hot in there, when Tyson starts putting in things on him again, Tyson's a very good boxer. 6'9", 270 pounds, jab heavy, knows how to use that jab. There's a difference between throwing a bunch of jabs and knowing how to use that jab. He knows how to use his length. He can keep you on the end of that jab. Soon as you're getting ready to set him up for what he can take a step back to take all your bullets out of your gun, and he can still reach you. He's very jab heavy. He's a very defensively sound fighter. He's a great boxer. He might go down as one of the very best of all time. Definitely will be in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he could have beat any of these guys. Don't know until, you know, somebody gets a time machine, whatever. We ain't gonna know. But he'll definitely be in the conversation. But so Deontay Wilder's done seen he can't outbox Tyson Fury. Then he got bullied. Now he's going to try and come with a whole different style. But what's going to happen is when Tyson, when he gets hot in there, he's going to resort back to what he knows. And what we've seen is what you already know ain't been working. And how is he mentally? I got questions. How is he mentally? Because he ain't even been able to accept for himself. I got outclassed. I got outmanned. Until you be real with yourself, you ain't never going to get nowhere. So I don't think this is about go good for Deontay. But hey, still a very, very dangerous man. Maybe the most dangerous man in the heavyweight division because he's got that if he lands it. But I don't think he's going to be able to land it. This is what I'm saying. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. Tune into it Saturday. Watch the first and second fight first. But I'm going to leave you with this. God is faithful. God is faithful. Who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able? But with the temptation will provide the way of escape also, that you may be able to endure it. Jesus loves you. So does the ROD. Remember, lay down some love on that like button. Slam that subscribe. Send out a share to the homies. And come at me in the comments. I want to hear what you got to say. Be good or be good at it. Jesus loves you. So does the ROD.